From the MDR studios in Davenport, Iowa, Quad Cities, you're listening to Minor Disturbance Radio. About all things that rock and some that suck.
Freak out.
Yeah. The world is looking at you.
Minor Disturbance Radio episode 90.
9-0.
Yeah, we just got done doing the radio show. Now it's time to get real.
Yep. We can say fuck now.
Dusty Smith
thank
and
God.
Justin Farley in the studio with us. And
Fuck.
I just found out something about Dusty. As soon as the lights turn on and things are recording, you switch. And you get nervous.
That's right.
You got to look past that.
He's fucked up before. That's the thing,
Right.
man. It's like, it's old. It's an old thing.
We talked about it on the car ride just now.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, you asked me before we started recording if I ever Ubered before. Mm-hmm. And I did, because I got pulled over one time in Rock Island, and I was drunk. It was my anniversary, and I had just drank like 4... what do they call them things? Long Island iced teas.
Yeah. Speaking of PTSD.
In
Bartles and James.
in one of them styrofoam cups that tall, right? So like a large, big gulp cup, and I'm sucking it through a straw.
And they're pure booze. I mean, it's just nothing
pure
but booze.
booze.
Yeah.
And I drank about 4 of them, and then we indulged in some extracurricular activity before I left. And I was driving, and I was trying to point out, hey, honey, I went to that school when I was a kid, and I totally cut a cop off that was trying to go straight through a green. I turned it from, and he pulled up behind me and put the cherries on, and I was looking at, I remember, because when I pulled over, I was looking at a telephone pole, and my eyes were doing that boink, 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 and I knew this is it,
This is
man.
it.
And I remember my wife grabbed my hand, and she said, I'm here. And I said, well, I'm going to jail. And they got me over. They got the lights. They had 3 squad cars sitting there. And they had the lights of all their cars shining right on me, and I'm standing out in the street, and they're making me do the walk.
Luckily, you're used to lights being on you.
Yeah, they're making me do the walk. Yeah. I was like, you want me to start singing? But they asked me some questions. They did the pen test thing, and I know my eyes were doing weird stuff. And, then I thought for sure next, they made me do the walk, and I did the walk perfectly. Didn't fall down. Did the 9 steps, a turn, whatever I had to do, and then they went and conferenced back by their cars, and then I could have swore he was going to come up with the breathalyzer next, and that was going to be it. And it was like Friday night, so I would have been in jail until at least Monday, right? Unless I can make bail. I don't know how that works in Rock Island, but
It sounds right.
yeah, I could still drive. I was good. You know, we've done it a million times. Travis, come on, man. We've done it a million times.
Yeah.
How many times have you driven?
Don't ask that question. You don't want people to admit to that.
Yeah.
Don't ask that question.
That's bad juju, man. That's bad. I got to drive home from here.
Dude, I've seen 80-year-old women that drive more dangerously than me buzzed. You know, they don't know what to do. They're stopping in the middle of the
That's a
street.
different kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, didn't somebody we know recently get a DUI on the way home from your house, Brian?
My house?
From here?
No. It was after a gig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just, I didn't want to do. I was just saying, you're inviting the evil eye here, man.
But
don't fucking do it.
So anyway, they come back from their car and they hand me my license. The guy hands me my license and says, "Have a good night. Get home safe." Shit. And I got back in my car. I explained to him it was my anniversary, and I didn't think any of that mattered. You know, he's asking me questions as he's doing the pen thing, like, "What do you do?" You know, I own a business. We have 2 kids at home. It's our anniversary. I had a few drinks because he asked me, "Did you drink?" And I said, "Yes, I had a couple Long Island iced teas." Exactly how I said it. And I looked at my wife and I was like, "That is so hard to say sober. You know, it's hard to say Long Island iced tea sober." And I was like, I said Long Island iced tea or something like that. I was like, shit, I'm going to jail. Anyway, but he let me walk, and I got home, and as soon as I got home, I took the keys out of the car and I threw them into my garage, and I said, "That is not happening again."
Yeah.
I wrote a letter to the Rock Island Police Department and attention that officer, and I just thanked him for giving me a second chance and letting me, realize that could have been a big problem for me.
Well, you probably got his ass in trouble.
No. I didn't say what it was about. I didn't say what it was about.
Man.
I didn't say what it was about. I just said I want to thank him for giving me a second chance, and I got home and everything was cool.
Yep.
So very cool. And that from now on, when we decide to go somewhere, it's absolutely an Uber. And I don't care if it's $15. I don't care if it's $20.
But dude, that's that PTSD though. That's what we were still, that is still on the subject. That's when something happens to you that gives you such a deeply negative emotional reaction that it's almost like your soul leaves your body and you're looking at yourself watching all of this terrifying shit go down. And when if something happens to where like maybe it's all okay, or maybe the worst thing that you could imagine did happen, when you come back into your body, it's like your body's a different body. So now you're going to avoid that situation with all your heart, dude. And
I definitely learned my lesson.
You should.
I think better of trying to do that stuff. I'll be honest with you. Back in my band days, there's times where I've driven back, because our mainstay was Pigpen and Clinton. That's where we used to play a lot. And
oh man, so
big fan, dude.
Yeah. So on the way back,
that drive is brutal.
it's brutal, but I don't remember about 20 of them.
Right.
Seriously,
no.
I'm coming down Welcome Way, close to my house, and
Welcome.
like bounced off the curb for a second. It was like, oh, I'm driving home from a gig. Cool.
Oh, no.
Beer bottle between my legs,
Yeah.
vinyl pants or whatever, leather pants on still, hair down, eyeliner running down my face. I had a topper on my truck that wasn't fully bolted down, so it like moved every time I turned and swung. It said drop hammer real big on the back window. We were idiots.
Yeah.
The front panel of the truck was crushed in, so I spray painted blood drips down the side of it, so it looks like I hit somebody and took off.
Yes.
This was a great
Put
idea.
like a
So there's
fake
nothing-
wig in the grill next to the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing conspicuous about that.
This is a perfect vehicle to drive home buzzed in, you know? And so after thinking back, I'm like, how in the hell did I dodge any trouble? I mean, I made it. I didn't hurt anybody,
You
but
must have been a good drunk driver.
Some people learn to drive drunk. That is a
Yeah.
weird situation. And people actually then,
It's a bad
almost like
thing
they're
to do,
more
man.
on their game when they're drunk because they're like, okay, no mistakes, zero
I use
mistakes.
cruise control a lot.
Cruise,
when
me
I
too.
know.
At
Yeah.
low speeds, like
Yeah.
35.
Speed limit.
Yep.
Right. Lock it in.
Perfect.
Cruise
Boom.
control. And
Yep.
I know I'm not
Yep.
speeding.
No
Then you just
distractions.
gotta worry about staying between the lines and stopping and going.
Oh, it's such a great technique.
But there's so many nights where I got home and I was like, how did I get here? And that's really kind of pathetic
That's
if you think
pathetic,
about
yeah.
it.
That's scary.
But in my defense, though, that's kind of how you had to live then. I mean, it seemed like that was the right thing to do in your 20s, to just be wild and free and, you know,
Yeah, like-
you didn't think things through.
There's never a good like taxi system around here. So back then there weren't the options. Now you really don't have an excuse. There's Uber. you know?
That's true.
There's a lot of people out there driving. So
That's true.
Get home from a drop hammer gig, gear full, you know, the drum set, everything's in the back of my pickup truck.
Jesus, man.
And the topper doesn't close because it's not bolted on right. So I'd have to get home and unload it. And I'm I'm still kind of whatever. And so I just wheel them out and like throw them down the steps in the basement, and they land where they land, and I go to bed.
Yeah. I'm sure there are drywall scars, you know,
Oh, man.
trying to
Oh,
take in
you
heavy
know that.
stuff that
I
you
know
can't, you know.
It reminds me of coming home from a pipe theory gig once. I had a Dodge pickup, full size 8-foot bed,
pick them up.
the pick 'em up truck,
Pick 'em up truck.
and all our gear was in it. No topper, no cover, no, and hammered. Driving home from out of town, dropped everybody else off. I'm like, I'll get the gear in my garage. No problem. I mean, young enough too, where I still lived at home. I think I was still in high school probably.
Yeah.
Get home, I'll do it in the morning. Go to bed, and it rained.
Rains, exactly.
Yeah. My 412 was facing the sky,
Oh, no.
and the speakers were
Yeah.
full of water, puddles.
Damn.
Yeah. But I took everything out, and it all dried out.
Tried it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't
Yep.
even know if I ever have told these guys.
No. The truth comes
rig?
No. It was, I had the Randall underneath the 412 basket that I still have now.
Oh, it was that one?
My cabinet that I
Really?
still play to this day.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got
I've
those-
had that cabinet. I've never used another cabinet.
Yeah, that cabinet, dude.
Years and years and
Well,
years
it's a
and years.
basket. I'm sorry to divert the attention for a moment, but for the gear nerds out there, hey, pay close attention. If I remember right, that basket weave cabinet that you have does not have the original greenback speakers in it, but has the Celestion K85 speakers in it. Is that wrong?
It's wrong now.
Okay.
It's 2 and 2 now.
Oh, okay.
vintage 30s.
Well, those
and
K85
the
speakers were
K85s.
killer, dude.
They
And
are.
they're still like people are looking for those. I didn't realize it at the time. You're like, man, this cabinet sounds good. I'm like, it does sound good.
And
Why
this-
does that sound good?
And this Travis Gear Nerd section was brought to you by
Skylark.
Yeah, exactly. Skylark. Skylark.
Skylark.
Lion
Partnered up-
Krugel, whatever.
Vintage music shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
829, 15th
partnered
Street,
up with nobodygivesashit.com.
Open Fridays and Saturdays.
Well, that is kind of, I mean, that
And
is
by
kind of the
appointment.
subject matter of the vintage music shop. It's like, if you know the difference between one thing and another, you might be able to sell something a little bit better than you could sell something else.
You have to be really knowledgeable about gear to run the shop that you have, though.
I have a great network of friends that are
Okay.
experts.
You got Travis on call?
Yeah, I got a bunch of different people I
No.
can text and send
Yeah,
pictures
in,
to.
No.
In 2 sentences or
I'm
less,
small
Travis, is this thing worth $300?
Well, no, see, here's the thing. It's like, actually, I am small peanuts. I am nobody in the world of used vintage gear. It's Christopher Ermy that is actually
He's a madman.
He is like an idiot savant with prices and specifications and part numbers.
Pipe theory.
It's his thing.
It is.
He loves it.
Yeah.
You know what?
He's all
And I
about it.
love it
Yeah.
that he loves it. I
too.
always admire people that truly love something that they do.
Well,
Yep.
love, I don't know if I'd call it love. I would call it more like
Addiction?
obsession.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He's like
still.
obsessed with it.
Yeah, but love and
It's like
obsession,
Rain Man
they're
shit.
kind of the same thing.
Wapner. You know what I mean? Like, he's fucking.
He's on a
Okay,
vibe.
when you guys were going to get beer, Farley and I had a discussion. We realized that all of you guys, you three, make up founding members of a lot of prevalent local bands.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, he was telling me that, before there was 1152, there was kind of some riffs being played with him, right?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just, it hit me that like basically the record we just made is what we were doing
Before
right after
1152.
Marianne.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
What turned into 1152.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were all in the band.
That's right.
Family stuff happened. We still had a standing rehearsal date. So me, Dud, and Worm were getting together for a while. Worm got a new job. Me and Dusty's still hanging. He's like, hey, I got these songs I want to record. And I'm like, cool. I'll just record you. You sing and do everything on them. And they turned into the first couple 1152. You built
Yeah.
a band around that
Yeah.
demo.
Yeah.
I mean, the song 1152 was
Yeah.
the
Recorded.
first one of those that we did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so that kind of
It
just
just
hit
hit
me
me. I'm like,
too.
oh,
yeah.
shit. It's just full
but it's
circle
very
now.
true.
Well, you
And-
were already
and
kind of
then
comfortable with that idea, though, because hadn't you already done
Yes.
an EP on your own before, where
Two.
you basically played everything?
2 of them.
So you were used to that.
with Rob
so
Cimarusty.
it wasn't like he was pitching you some idea that was completely out of your wheelhouse.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But he and I had, after Marianus, started writing songs, and I think you still have some of them archived somewhere.
I still do too.
Zeus.
I've got some little stuff. Zeus, right?
Which you never know.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
it's there. That's one of the kind of
Oh,
cool
it's
things
there.
about digital archiving at this point is that as long as we made sure shit
It's
was
there.
backed up, the sessions are still there.
I'm thinking of what Farley said about he's kind of been in the beginnings of all these bands, but then I said, so what do you do? Just kind of flake out before they actually start doing anything? Or
Nice, Ryan.
it's like, well, I'm just saying he's at the beginning of most of these bands, and then all of a sudden he's like not in the
That's
band
one
that I
thing
know.
That I
Were you in Drop
wanted
Hammer
to make
too, and I don't even know about it?
He's amused, man.
is Farley's time in Circle 7, because
Right.
that influenced me a great deal vocally, because I remember going to your apartment on like Esplanade off Locust, and I hadn't seen you in a long time. You had just moved back.
Esplanade.
Yeah.
Esplanade.
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 I lived on
Enjoy
Esplanade.
some of this Wite wine. That's white.
I live
motherfucker.
in
It's not-
Bednorf. I live in Bednorf. I said
Wait,
Esplanade.
you lived on Esplanade?
That was Scott, dude. But I was over
Yeah.
by, that was off Arlington, but over in that hood, yeah.
All right.
It's East Side Davenport.
All right.
But anyway, he just came back and played me what they had recorded, and gave me a copy, and I was blown away by it, especially Justin's vocals.
Did you record that with Tom Tapman?
Yes.
Yeah, that was up at Catamount. And
Dude,
I know that
and it sounded so good.
and that experience for you, Justin, was one of the things that inspired you to get involved in recording in the first place, if I remember conversations with you.
I met Rob a long time
Oh,
ago.
okay.
We're weaving the web.
Right.
It's about to go deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do
Alright,
it, dude.
here goes
Yeah.
the
So,
web.
Rob's wife worked with my next door neighbor.
And we're talking about Rob
Cimarusty. And you're talking about Sue Marker.
Yeah. And my neighbor knew that I was a kid that played piano and stuff. And she's like, hey, my coworker's husband's opening a recording studio. Would you like to come? I'm like 13, 12.
Wow.
So my mom made me put on my shirt and my tie and I get in the car and ride over to the studio. And it was Rob.
Whoa.
And he was just building it. He let me play some drums and try to play guitar over it. And I'm like, this is crazy. And he gave me a flyer. He's like, if you ever start a band, let me know. A flyer sat on my wall for 6 years.
Yeah.
Until I was in pipe theory. And we started talking about recording. I'm like, I know where to go.
Oh.
And then
I never knew that.
Rob had never done any like super heavy stuff. The only reason he did is because he met me when I was a kid.
Wow.
And he was like, what are you guys doing? he was how we were talking about Bill didn't know the sound you were going for when you went to that studio down at Frank's. It's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Rob was like, what the
But
hell
he did
are you
it
guys
for
doing?
us.
He did do it.
And the
We
biggest
brought a lot of bands
and
to
that
him after
favor
that.
that did for us when we were in pipe theory, you couldn't find a place around here like what Justin has now.
Yeah.
You know? And Rob gave us a really professional recording, high quality, sounded awesome.
Yeah.
So then when we're going out gigging with that in our hands, all of a sudden, there's people in, I remember going through Taco Bell in Muscatine and somebody being like, pipe theory, you're the dude in pipe theory.
Oh.
I'm like, yeah.
Do I get free tacos?
That's me, man.
Yeah, did you get a free taco?
Yeah. No.
I doubt it.
No.
But
Their systems are tight.
We used to play down there all the time, and we started getting a really good following down there after we got that good recording from Rob.
That's amazing,
which
dude.
started the relationship between him and Worm.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, it just
Damn.
started.
Wow.
Rob used to call me in for the first couple of heavy bands he had in just to like kind of be like, is this the right direction? Is this supposed to sound like this?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, louder, more.
Louder, more, yeah.
What
Brighter.
do you think? I've worked with Rob a lot
More
too.
energy.
I loved Rob.
We all
He
do.
was one of them guys that can make every individual feel like they're the most important person in the situation, and it might have been at that time with him. Anyway, what do you find as far as recording now, having a studio now as compared to like maybe 20 years ago, to where kids these days can download the programs and do it in their bedroom? I mean, have you found that to be a hindrance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say photographers feel the same way.
I would think so, because now iPhones take just as good of pictures as anything.
Yeah.
But there's still something to be said about somebody that knows how to really record a set of drums. What these kids are doing in their rooms are using like fake, program drums,
Yep.
and you can really kind of tell. But then sometimes if a studio guy's good enough, then the drums sound like they're programmed.
Yeah, right. You get back to that point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dusty, I talking about To Kill Lament. That is your new CD that you just put out, and you're calling yourself The Smith. Which I love, by the way.
Thank you.
Because only you could pull that off. I couldn't call myself like The Miner, or something like that.
Yeah. You could be the miner, dude.
You could.
Yeah.
But actually,
That actually makes
It
sense.
really does.
That's another job that you could
It
just
works.
have. You could mine things.
Right?
You know what? The miner, actually, you have to have the miner in order to get to the point where you can have the smith, if you think about it.
There you go.
Oh.
So I mine the gold, and then you smith, you turn it into metal.
He shapes it. He forms
See?
it.
I like
He
it.
forms it. He
We've
pounds
never
it.
been in
I
a
like
band together.
Never.
It's time.
And no, he don't want to be in a band
The
with
Miner
me,
and the
Justin.
Smith.
Trust me.
I asked Brian if he would play on
You
my
did.
next
You did.
The
And
Smith
that's kind of
album.
what I wanted to get at right now, is because you just put out a brand new CD
Mm-hmm.
of your solo stuff. And I was wondering, you have two boys now,
Yes, I do. Asher and Ellis.
and I was just wondering, how do you find time? Because when I did my last record, I didn't have any kids, and I had all day. If I wasn't working or eating or sleeping, I was in the studio playing around.
The way I find time is I do a lot of it with them. A lot of nights when mom's at work, we rock out in the basement.
Okay.
I got a full, setup down there, along with all their toys and stuff. But
See, I think heavy metal is
You know-
Tonka trunks for fucking
yeah.
disenfranchised 13-year-old angry boys.
my kids, they go for it, man.
what Tom
They go
Jones
for it. But coming out of 1152 and going way back to like what I said on the radio show, Pipe Theory, we practiced every single day, a lot of times twice a day, and then we would gig on the weekends. So for me, moving forward from that, everything else seemed like we weren't really practicing that much, even though like in 1152 for 9 years we practiced 2 nights a week without fail, and then sometimes we'd play 2 gigs on a weekend. Not very often, but we would always play gigs on the weekends. So now to not have any obligation to be at band practice, to play gigs, to be booking, all that stuff is gone. It's easy, really, to find time to write. And it's funny because having said that, I'm just now thinking to myself, I haven't picked up a guitar in months,
dude.
Because I've been
first
playing
time for
piano.
me, like last night, dude. Oh, so you've been playing piano?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. And I'm
different world.
I'm hooked. Yeah, right.
It's different world,
That's why
man.
I haven't picked up guitar.
So Liberace,
would you like to tickle the ivory?
no, but
It's because I take my son to lessons.
Dusty, is this the first time that you've actually got to? I mean, you've been in a lot of different bands. Is this the first time you actually had full control of your sound? Is this truly a
Yes?
Like the overall sound.
So
like
this is
how it's gonna be.
full control. Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
I remember when you first started working on this, and every week you would tell me, it's just about done, man. I'm going to come on the show and release this song, man. And I'm like, okay, dude. And then like a month later, you're like, dude, we're still tweaking some stuff. It's not quite done.
Yep.
But
Because you want it to sound.
one of the
way
first
you want
things
it
that
to
you would
sound.
say to me, is, Brian, it's not 1152.
Yep.
And I would say,
Well, I felt like you out of anybody, I needed to remind that. I remember conversations where you'd be like, dude, when you put this out, that everybody is going to be comparing it to 1152.
and I think that that's true.
I do too. And that's fine because, I mean,
You were in a little bit.
Yeah.
You are the son.
And you were more than just like a member of 1152.
Right, yeah.
You were like
I wrote
the
a lot of
driving
the
force of a
guitars.
lot of the stuff.
All right,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
Right, we shared writing the guitars.
He just wants
and
to
I wrote
know
all the
what
vocals
he's trying to
and
point
lyrics,
out is
and
that
so of course it's going to sound similar.
the balls will taste different in your mouth.
Thank you,
It's a different
Travis.
band. It's like Himalayan pink salt.
Look, man, you know what?
kinda-
I was really excited about a band like 1152, and like I was telling you, Farley, it wasn't just because they were a band that stood out for the area and they're the best of the local thing. No, this band to me, I thought was something that needed to be mainstream, like something that everybody should be hearing. The fact that it was local and good, sometimes people get a lot of credit just because they're a good local band.
Yeah.
No, this was a band that I thought was good across the entire market that could find a place to fit.
Yeah.
Because it did cover a lot of different styles. It had a lot of melodic stuff and it had a lot of riffs. So you covered the testosterone and you covered the melody. So you're kind of overlapping the people like me who like melodic stuff and putting really heavy riffs with it. So that's what everybody's been trying to do, I think.
Well, Brian, you were kind of like disenchanted with what happened with a lot of the local scene because of the fact that the atonal vocal kind of took over.
It just went way too far one direction.
Right.
It went way too far, too heavy, let's see how tough we can be and how heavy we can be. And I was like, And then nobody wanted to be in that gray area where they weren't afraid to write a hook.
Yeah.
Where they were afraid
The
to write
gray
a hook.
area. That's right, man. Like us older guitar players, we know how to turn the preamp gain down a little bit because it clarifies things and you can get what you might call semi-clean tones. Whereas you listen to the vocals on a lot of the newer stuff, it's like channel switch tones. You've got this singing part and then you've got this this
And
pterodactyl part. And they put them up against each other as if you're just switching channels,
so these are the things that I looked at, and when 1152 was going, I was around and I was in you guys' ear a lot because I was telling you guys have this thing that if you can nail it down and get Mike to stop wearing striped shirts on stage, and things like that, I was trying to
wigs. Brian's like, get some wigs.
You were offering us
the energy's
advice.
there, the riffs are there, the songs are good. Dusty is a character. Obviously, when you see you're recognizable. You're one of them people that you could see a silhouette of you and still think, I think I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what bands need. They need something that's marketable. When I first fell in love with that band, the way that it looked, the way that it felt, to me, I was like, this is something.
Yeah.
and the power of it, which you had a huge part of that. You were actually, the power of 1152 to me was, you were at least like 70% of it because of
That
the
pipe
way.
theory in them.
It's that pipe theory. Yeah, I agree.
So, but I want to get to that and get this out of the way, because I know that there's going to be a lot of people tuning into this podcast that probably want to know.
They're dying for you to ask.
And
certain
I'm not
questions.
asking. I'm not asking you to get.
Let's see.
Listen.
Let's see how it goes.
I'm friends with Mike.
Thank you.
I like Mike. No matter, people say things to me about him. People say things to me about everybody that's in 1152, but I always maintain that as long as, to me, they're cool with me to my face,
Right.
I'm good with them until I find out different. People have said things about you to me that, you don't really know Dusty then. And I'm not saying anybody in your band. I'm just saying that people, right? And they're like, I don't know, man. So there's two sides, obviously. It might be three sides. Who knows?
There's
But I'm just telling
probably way more sides than that.
I like
It's a
all these
dodecahedron.
guys. I don't want to
Own-
disrespect any of them guys because they're all friends of mine, and I always
too.
thought that the best for all of them guys. So I want to know.
Me too. I wish the best for everybody too.
What happened to
Always have.
1152?
Well, I told myself I'm not going to go too deep into this. But what I will say, what happened is I quit.
Yeah.
And so, without going too deep into it, there's obviously things you regret and you wish you would have done different and this and that. But it's been long enough ago now that I've had enough time to reflect on it and think about what happened and stuff. And, it just... I'm going to be really guarded with this, but what happened is I quit. It was time for me to quit.
But your reasons were personal enough.
You don't have to throw anybody under the bus. I mean, what were your emotions when you're deciding to quit?
It was tough, man. It was horrible. And I've talked to Justin about this plenty of times.
Hey, coming from a guy that's quit a couple bands.
every band. Every band.
I'm letting you know that sometimes you just know it's time to shift.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean you dishonor what you did. You still love the people. You still love the music. It's just sometimes you feel like stuff's run its course.
Yeah.
And you just need to... The best way you can honor it is by going on to the next thing, I feel like. And I don't think you have to apologize for that.
No, I don't feel apologetic. I don't want to... I don't want to say anything that would put anything in a bad light.
Dusty, I respect that, but I'm telling you, this is the forum I'm not trying to make you sell anybody out, but this is the forum to get the feelings out about it, because people are going to watch this.
I understand that. And that's what I'm saying is those feelings that where you're saying, what did you feel like? It felt terrible. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to let anybody down, but I needed to.
Did you think the band was stuck in the mud? Did you think that it wasn't going to move forward anymore? Was something hindering the momentum of it?
It definitely wasn't going to move forward anymore.
Okay.
So, like, the way I think about it, and this is just because of, like, the feeling that I get, like, the energy about it, was that it's almost like you have to appreciate that the thing that you fell in love with was this chemical reaction that happened between these men.
Yeah.
When they got together and played music.
Pause.
But just like any chemical reaction, there comes a time where whatever it is, whatever the tension is that's between the elements that makes it so it's in this balance, so that sustains the reaction, after a certain amount of time, it's like it wears down. You can't sustain the reaction anymore, and that's when you know it's time to move on.
From the outside looking in, though, Dusty, because I wasn't at all your practices, I wasn't in that band, but from the outside looking in, that looked like a band that everybody would be envious of as far as the brotherhood it felt like. I mean, before every show, the fists in the center, I was jealous of that. I mean, it seemed like you guys were a real family.
That takes me back, hearing you say that makes me think of Pipe Theory. And we all went to high school together, and we suddenly enjoyed success of playing our own songs. People were screaming at us, and people out of town.
You played big shows,
we would headline shows out of town, and we would play, we were playing, we were open for, just like every band measures themselves.
Sure,
We've opened for this guy.
But
and that's how we felt though back then. It's like, the reason that I feel like we were so successful is our work ethic first and our relationship second.
We were homies.
And because
like big homies. Like,
yes, like I was saying,
hang out every day even if we're not practicing.
Right.
he and I would be driving around in my truck trading screams. He's wearing shorts in February, carrying around a 30-pack.
I bring the spring. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I bring the spring.
So you know it.
So how does that relate to 1152? You felt that again in that band?
Yeah,
Brotherhood,
of course, definitely. And
Well, I know exactly
band
where he's
I've been
coming
in
from.
After Pipe
Yeah.
Theory, I tried to impose that same like work ethic and like the brotherhood. And
Yes, you have to.
It turns away a lot of people.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to be this serious.
They don't
but
wanna get that
into
close.
this. And
Yep.
It's like, hey, this is the only way I know how to really do this at a high level.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that we got to like hang
is-
out.
We gotta be
it is
in.
We
the
gotta
only
be
way.
in.
It is
Yeah.
the only way to do it at a high level.
You be tight and not get embarrassed when you play
I'm-
with the real band.
Did
Right.
that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did that start to fade towards the end?
Had to have.
Maybe
Perhaps.
families started.
Well,
to
I
take-
mean,
'cause
obviously,
this happens when we
Steve-
grow up.
Steve
though.
was
It's easy when you're a kid.
Yeah,
original
it's easy.
member, and he wasn't there anymore.
There was-
so
that
there's-
broke
there's
apart.
an
That was a
obvious,
chunk of it, yeah.
Okay.
It's like the
piece
integrity of the
that.
circle was
and
broken.
That's nothing, obviously, Nickel knows that I love him, and that it doesn't have anything to do with Nickel at all. I'm just talking about the original
No, I understand,
lineup.
Yes.
and everybody
The
understands
chemistry,
that.
the alchemy.
To be as vague as I can. Every
Thank you for that, too.
Every aspect
I love
had
it.
changed, and it was, it was just
Wasn't the thing it was, man.
Okay, so just
yes and no.
Some
I
people
mean,
think their ass is like
yes
wine.
and no.
You know what I mean?
most people would have ridden that out until it was obvious. You kind of left at a time where it seemed like you still were on top of the game. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was like momentum's going again, a new record. This is happening, and I'm all, I'm like, we got to do a video now. We got to do all this stuff, and then I get a call that Dusty quit, and 1152 is no more.
Yep.
And I was just as shocked, I think, as anybody. And I was like, what? No. Why? What? No. Right? So hearing that, I was thinking, this sucks. And the reason it sucks to me is because all bands break up eventually. I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken that one of the coolest things about 1152 to me was the live performance and the energy that came from the stage. And I was heartbroken that we never had an opportunity to record that DVD quality, mixed in the studio, live DVD of 1152 performing.
That would have been cool.
So
man.
that your kids could put it in and be like, that's
So-
my dad, and feel that.
But can
And
you
it's-
put the
it's-
genie
instead
back
of
in the
just
bottle?
hearing
You
stories
can't,
you
about
know?
say your kids. One thing I've recognized from having been full on band guy and now full on dad guy is I was worried when I was thinking about leaving the band. I was worried, how am I going to influence my boys? I had dreamed about taking them to band practice and having them be at 1152 shows, and how am I going to influence my boys? I was so freaking wrong. I was so far off with that.
Yeah.
Because now I'm at home and I'm writing music with my boys.
Yeah.
Influencing, where instead of them
Totally.
grabbing onto my pant leg and bawling when I'm walking out the door.
Yeah.
I don't want you to go to band
Yeah.
practice tonight. I don't want you to go to this gig tonight.
Your boys are 1152 now, dude.
It just
That's
hit
what it
me,
is.
smashed me in the face.
Yeah.
That it was
Hammer smash
well
face.
after I had left the band, but it's
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Ah,
it
shit.
did though. It smashed me that. Wow,
Yeah.
this is how.
This
That's how.
this is my final question about 1152, and then we'll move on.
Thank you.
I fucking
appreciate
doubt
that.
it. I
appreciate
fucking doubt it.
because it's sticky subject and
Well, just
sore, dude.
It's
It
been a
hurts.
while though.
it sucks.
It's been a while.
It sucks. I wish
Yeah.
it wasn't. I wish it was awesome. I wish it was rainbows and butterflies.
I just want you to understand that if 1152 somehow figured out a way to play again, it would be a big deal.
Yep.
Agree.
No chance. No chance at all.
Nope.
Right.
Okay. Well, that answers my question.
man.
There you have it, Minor Disturbance Radio listeners.
Okay, yeah. Speaking of I'm not crying, you're crying. Holy shit, dude. I love it, Brian. You know what, though? That's one of the things that is actually more... I know I give you a lot of shit about it, Brian, and I think you fucking deserve it, but it is one of the more powerful and endearing traits of your personality. The fact that you are so interested in the local talent, not necessarily because it's local, because it's good and you can get behind it. It's close to you, you know.
One thing about 1152 is it was fueled, a lot by what you had, because you were building this at the same time,
Yeah.
and you.
I built this because of bands like 1152, and I say bands like, I mean because of 1152. When I saw that there was something like that, I felt like I had like a platform then to really talk and say, hey, we've got good bands here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go, I wouldn't have put the show together if it were just, it's mediocre most of the time, right? And I might be included in that. I don't give a shit. But when I was inspired by what you were doing with that, and I was inspired by when you were in Marianna, all that stuff was building up in me, and I was like, no, fuck this, man. I'll stand proud. I'll carry that flag. I'll carry the flag of local music because I believe in it. And if I played you a Marianna song or 1152 song or even sometimes a Drop Hammer song or Pipe Theory, whatever, you can tell that they fucking around.
There's a thread. Yeah,
there's something there. But the only thing that kills it is that it's local.
Yeah,
and people can't see past that sometimes.
Nope.
And that was the death of my band. As a matter of fact, when we used to get played on 97X, Z-Man used to play us all the time.
I remember that fucking Z-Man, dude.
Okay. He had a show on 97X called The Perfect Hairset. And that's the only time he could sneak in stuff that's not in the program, right?
Oh,
the
right,
corporate stuff.
Yeah.
And he could play what he wanted. And he would sneak in a Drop Hammer song with all the other 80s hair metal bands. Okay. And our little secret was he never said local.
Right.
I said, don't say we're local and just play it.
Yep.
And when he did that, it changed the game for us.
Totally.
People started coming to our shows thinking that we were from L.A. or Chicago. They were calling in. Smart. Who in the hell was that?
So smart.
What the hell was that? Who's Drop Hammer? I feel like I know who that should be. And then they would get interested, right?
It's crazy.
That's the trick.
Crazy, man.
As soon as you say, we're playing a local song, that's like a band saying, we're going to play something off our new record now.
And and you're like, no!
It's been known for ages that that's the truth.
Yeah.
And so I just told him, I said, don't even say that we're from here. Just say that was Drop Hammer, not even the Perfect Hairset, whatever, and just wait for the reaction instead of, giving it the moniker of local, because then people are already like, oh, this sucks already. You know?
Yeah.
So they sold a shitload of wallet chains.
I don't know.
I've noticed that's the same thing when you tell people I do solo stuff. I'm a solo guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
You got no friends, huh?
No one wants to work with you.
So Duzzy, do you plan on taking this live, the new record?
Man,
The boys aren't old enough yet.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
Be
not
there soon.
Yeah.
They're coming up.
First of all, I want to close on that. When you said something about writing, having me write with you,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, Dusty, I haven't written in so long that I'd almost be embarrassed to sit down.
What I had asked is
That's a muscle that you have to kind of work a little
The
bit.
craft is, but the creativity
Would you be
isn't.
willing to solo on a song?
Sure,
And then I
but
sent you the song, and you never sent me anything back, and I was really hurt by
dude,
that.
Ouch.
you were?
Yeah.
I was.
I'm sorry, Dusty. Here's the thing.
Because I put a lot into your feedback.
Okay, well,
You didn't give me any, and I was like,
Damn.
I
dude.
also-
I didn't know.
Right.
You know what? Fuck this guy. We ought to get up and walk the fuck out.
No, I also gave you my
I'm
solo.
bust- I'm
I
busting your
also
balls,
gave you
dude.
my solo CD,
yes.
and you never said shit about it to me.
He paid me back.
Fucking
And I was even
radio
waiting by the phone.
silence.
You know why? Because when you say solo, everybody's like,
I was waiting by the phone. I knew you were. I was like, he probably put it in his CD player already, and I'm not just
Dude,
gonna wait by the phone.
He's
He's gonna be calling me any minute, being like, dude.
We worked on it, and
then I found the CD.
1152 practices.
I found
we tried to cover some of your solo. Yeah,
No shit.
I asked those guys. We were working on it. Yeah.
Wow,
Funny.
What? Just to make me happy?
Well, we were gonna surprise you. and
Oh
bust it
man,
out,
I would have bawled.
Yeah.
And probably got my
tried.
penis out. I might have got my
tried.
penis out. I'm not sure.
Your vocals and mine
Showed the truth. Showed the truth of it all. The naked truth.
But then I found
remember which song.
I found the disc down the street, right around the corner. You
Yeah.
must have just whipped it right out the window.
500W.
Well, he was using CD minus R instead of CD plus R. So he put that shit in, and it was like disc not found. What the
And
fuck?
it pissed me off because I was hoping I could get it back because that was the only one I had.
That's what you get for having a front load. God damn it.
Yep.
It's fucking slot
That's my
load.
problem.
No,
Damn it. 100 disc changer in the trunk.
Oh yeah, dude, those were the days. You know, he said earlier, it was like Dusty just came out with a new record. It's like you're fucking old. People don't make
Jesus.
records.
People still say records, right?
Yeah, they do. I still say
People
record.
that have gray
I
streaks
still
in their
say
hair?
record.
No,
It's hard to
everybody
put
says
out
that.
an album as opposed to putting out a single now,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
It's like where you upload the shit is way more for people who are putting out
Singles,
Right.
absolutely.
rather than
It's kind of the new thing.
Yeah.
full
I,
album.
well, I think the term record has kind of drifted back to what its original form was, which is just to say that it is like the record of the event. You know what I mean? It's like a record,
Yeah.
like in a fucking
record.
spreadsheet.
Well, Travis, you're an
you
excellent
recorded
songwriter.
that
Go ahead.
album on your own too, didn't you?
I did that in my attic.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this
And
house.
Van Hefty played
Nobody played on it.
drums?
Nobody
Who's playing
played on
drums?
it.
You?
I did it all.
Awesome.
Now-
Really? This whole time I was under the impression that you did not play the drums on that.
Okay, on that Zach Alex CD, Remain
Yeah.
Seated, I played all the, well, when I say played the drums, that means I sat behind an electronic drum set and bashed through it and then went back and fixed it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? Because I'm not Neil Peart. I can play drums
That's
and
how
get
I
through
play
the,
drums, dude.
you know, the energy of the song, but there's some
That's how I play
there's some fills on there that are a little, you know, fixed.
Yeah.
And then Terry Hodges, Drop Hammer's drummer, he played on one of the tracks.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but no,
Love Terry.
all that's me. I did bass,
He's such a
vocals,
great guy.
guitar,
Great
all that
dude.
stuff. So that's all me.
Awesome.
And when I was doing that, I was like, okay, I have complete control now. I don't have to go under the moniker of Drop Hammer. I don't have to have the double leads and the whatever we were trying to do.
So that's hard though, right? Because
No, that was absolutely the best for me.
It's like
for me, it
liberating.
was hard. For me, having total control, because and to say that Justin produced is not giving him enough credit.
Yeah.
Because it was just he and I.
Right.
And obviously, having been in the first real band I was ever in, and then Marianas, and
Yeah.
spending all the time that I've spent with Justin recording my solo stuff before 1152, after 1152, recording vocals for albums with him for 1152, he and I's comfort level is, you know, for me anyway, and I'm sure for Justin, is beyond, you know, where it needs to be
Yeah.
to put out whatever you might think is coming
Right.
from anywhere. You
Right.
know, no, you know, holding back.
It's
Go
like
ahead.
I know as a producer, there's not going to be anyone else, other guys I'm going to have the same relationship I have with the Pipe Theory guys, and guys I've been in bands with. So to get to record these guys, the walls are down right away, which is awesome. And you can really just, you know, talk about what's really going on with the song. And the easy thing about Dusty is, I mean, let's be real. I just tell him what stuff he should do again. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is all cool. This is all cool. That wasn't as cool.
One more time.
This is cool. This is cool. This is cool. That wasn't as
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And he just flies
And we
through
do
it.
it, yeah.
And it's
Because
like,
you don't always have that comfort with everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes to ask somebody to do it again as if the thing they did wasn't good enough can be a really
What you mean,
deep.
man?
Exactly.
What you mean?
It can read as an
Do it
accusation
again.
or an aggression if a person has got their ego
Yes.
up in a certain way, and it just is so helpful to work with people who aren't that way, or your relationship isn't that
the
way.
relationship's already there. It's like sometimes by the time you get to the end of a project with someone, it's like you're finally
Yeah.
kind of getting that. It's like, man,
finally there. Yep.
Yeah.
good thing we're done.
Well, you
And I
listen
won't
to
see it,
you know
what
you
I mean?
listen to the shit at the beginning, and you can. It's like you can hear it in there. You can
Intense.
hear the yeah.
You have to figure out what their range is. Like I can know of Dustin, like, hey, I know you can do better.
Mm.
I know that's
Yeah.
not. I know, like it's easy, and I can just
Yeah.
tell him, and he's cool with it. We keep going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other people, I'm like, was that your best shit? That might have been.
But you might not know. You might not know though.
Yeah, you
yeah.
know.
To be honest, though, Farley, you are kind of intimidating. I know that you're a pretty shy person from what I've heard from all your friends, because I've asked about you. I'm like, what's with this Farley guy? Is he cool, or is he? Because every time I walked up to him, he's like, just kind of like, go away,
That's
dude.
Farley, man.
Are you gonna ask
just
me
gotta get to know
some
him.
stupid shit?
Yeah.
And I've asked you some stupid shit, and then people are like, no, dude, you don't know Farley. He don't like social situations. He's, you know,
I got a case of the anxieties.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Too many people, too many weirdness. Fuck. What?
I was immediately like, oh, that dude does not like me. You know,
Oh, sure.
you know what I'm saying? So
Well, when I first met you, I mean, I was like I don't understand, man. Like, I talked to him and looked him in the eye and shit, but then nothing happened.
Is that look right there? What you're doing right now?
Yep. But then after a while, especially after you came back from Los Angeles, Justin went to the Los Angeles recording school, and now they've been purchased. That school is still there.
Yes.
And they've been purchased by one of the other major programs or whatever. But when you came back from there, it was like you had some kind of epiphany with how you related to people or something. Because as soon as you came back from there, I felt like, oh my goodness, like it's Justin Farley, man. Like I can know this guy and he knows all this stuff. Justin, you were back in town, I think, for like less than a week. You came back and Marianis was in full swing, and Patrick Stolley, which I don't know if you know Pat, but Pat Stolley is one of the founders of Daytrotter, and he has had a working studio for the last 20 years. And somehow or another, he agreed, because he's a benevolent dude, to let us go in and record in his studio. And you hadn't even been in town. Like, I mean, it was something real short time, like a week.
About that. I still have those tracks.
Yeah, I do too. And
Pat's kind of opened the door, was like, good luck. And I'm like, all right. So I had to spend a day like figuring out where everything went. But
but it was great. We came back, and of course it's that whole thing where you get in the studio and you're like, okay, we're gonna record a song, and then we got in there and like we recorded the song and it was like, we're recording an album, man, let's do it, because we already humped the gear all the way up the Matterhorn, to get it all set up and going. And so we just hit play and record with Justin.
Right when I got back,
right? It was right when you got back, man. You had not been in town and you were already in a studio loaded with gear. Man, it was cool.
But most people come in and they have a very clear vision what they think they want to do, and a lot of times I just have to get out of the way and let them do what they want. But it is great when somebody, or like Dusty, be like, hey, help me do this. What's strong about this? What sucks about this? You can help them.
What I was going to say, a perfect example of what you guys are talking about is the last track on To Kill the Mint. I'm trying to sing this big climactic vocal part that's the last thing you hear on the CD. And I'm trying to sing it up here.
Some 1152 shit. You know
trying to push it as hard as I can, as high as I can. And he's like, dude, sing that in your wheelhouse. What are you doing? He's like, bring that down 2 octaves.
One thing that I would say to bands too is sometimes you can get in the studio and you can add too much, and then when you play live, because I fell right into that trap. I would sing above what I could handle doing every night. Sometimes, I mean, I was striving to try to sing like Queensryche and stuff like that, and I was getting close to it, but I wasn't just quite there yet. Yep. And I still but I had a good range where I sounded good, but if I went out of that, it kind of did a weird thing, and I can hear that now. But that's what I needed, somebody to say like, hey man, let's we're not ready for that. Let's kind of keep it here.
It's still powerful. It's more impactful to me because it feels confident.
Yeah, it feels like exactly.
To do it.
And plus, when you do it live, you want to be able to do it.
Exactly. You want to be able to do it 8 songs in.
Yeah.
Not, okay, let's try it again.
That's one thing I hated about...
Let me take a big deep breath here. I've been jumping around like an idiot.
Do a couple laps around the building, get some air in the lungs.
Headbanging.
You have to take that into account for sure. There's times where I've felt like, okay, I'm going to only write songs standing up. And literally, I've written songs jumping around in the living room like I would on stage, rock star. And I know I looked crazy.
Yeah.
But I did it anyway because I wanted to be able to do it that way.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to write it that way,
the phrasing differently.
Right.
That's what I mean.
If you're,
you
can sitting here with your guitar like this and a microphone here, and you're like, okay, you try that riff 100 times, you get it perfect, and then you're like, okay, and the guitar's way up here. You better be ready to play with it right here. And then when you get on stage, it's down here all of a sudden because you want to look cool, and now all of a sudden all them riffs are impossible. And then you got to get a foot up on the monitor and
all your lungs to yell at the crowd.
Come on,
you're right, dude.
You're getting
now you're gonna be all like, hey,
now you gotta sing beautifully.
Yeah, right.
2 minutes later, when that big chorus comes.
So I'm with that, Brian. I mean, I think that especially if you're recording everything by yourself, then it's really a challenge to try to make it sound like people who are playing together. Now, it is true, you are playing with yourself, and maybe that's why we're both bald.
It could be.
But
That's what Rob Samarowski named my very first solo album. He's like, what are you going to call this? Rob, I did 3 songs in the studio. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a name or anything. He's like, it's Playing With Myself.
Playing With Myself.
I still have the master CD, and he wrote on it.
Playing with
myself. Dud.
Right. Although now you have to hold it out here to read it, Should make you go blind, man. Gotta shave them palms.
One thing I was going to say about that, though, is you had mentioned bands recording in the studio. Got to be careful because you got to be able to do it live. I think that's super important for a band that is playing gigs live.
Yeah.
That, we always talked about it with 1152 and what we would record, and I always wanted to push it and get as many harmonies and the biggest choruses I could with my voice and do all that stuff and layer the guitars like crazy, and it was stuff that we couldn't always do live, even though we started to, and we started getting pretty good at it. I think when you're doing your solo thing, you're never going to play a show.
Exactly.
Go nuts.
Yeah.
You're free. I mean, that's like what you were talking about. There's nobody to answer to.
Okay.
There's no
you want to see something hilarious and terrible?
You want your business card to be as shiny and clear as possible.
Right.
And I feel like it's okay. It's
You're
weird
selling
to say that, but I feel like it's okay.
It is okay.
You're
to
selling a
overdo
recording.
it.
No, I was going to say.
Exactly.
That's a different product.
Not
That's
a band.
That's
Only
a different
thing
product.
you have. You're not sitting there with the merch booth and jumping around with the lights.
God,
and
doesn't that
smoke.
suck?
No, watch something hilarious and terrible. Watch the Beatles try to pull off Paperback Writer at a concert, a live show in like Korea, right? They're up there trying to do all these overdubs and all this stuff live, and it sounds like hammered shit. And that's the Beatles. You know what I mean? After a certain point, they had to figure out what are we really? Are we this live
They were both.
club band? They started out as this live club band, and they sounded exactly live the way they sounded on those recordings. Because George Martin only had 4 tracks to work with, and that's what you had, But those later recordings, when they had 8 tracks and 16 tracks, they started stretching out as songwriters and as composers and arrangers. And the live thing wasn't possible anymore, and they had to admit it. So they stopped playing live shows. The Beatles stopped playing live shows.
I think what some people,
no idea.
I think what some people forget in this day and age is there used to actually be a time where you were limited to tracks.
Yeah.
Right? And you'd be like, we're going to the studio. How many tracks, man? It's a 16 track. All right. I think we can get it done.
Oh, shit.
And then you had to know what the hell you were doing.
Yeah.
You had to be a badass to
Yeah.
be able to make 16 tracks work. Because let's think about this for a second. Because this is what people don't think of. Because I had a 4-track.
Right.
Okay. And I was like, so we're gonna do my drum machine in left and right, and track 3 and 4.
Right.
And then you're gonna have to mix that down, right? Bounce it.
Yeah,
Bounce it.
Yep.
To a track that's a stereo track though. And then now I've got my left-right guitar. You have to have left-right guitar.
Yeah, gotta have pan
You have to have
guitars.
left-right
dude.
guitar.
Yep, absolutely.
And I would just say fuck the bass, and the vocal track's the last one.
So no bass, vocal
Fuck
track.
the bass. You don't give a shit about
I
bass.
don't need bass and metal, dude.
That's amazing.
Bass is the
For
metal.
a demo, for a demo. But if you're going to the studio, you're like, dang, we got 16 tracks now. That means we can do the kick, snare.
Yeah.
We could actually get a drum mix.
Well, then you can have a bunch of fucking problems too, because then you're like, why is it that when I turn on the floor tom microphone, the low end of my kick drum disappears? Fuck. What? No. Yeah, that's where we're at now. Now I've got 16 tracks, and I'm trying to make them agree with each other, especially in the low end. And life
we're
can
talking
be pretty
tape,
terrible.
too.
Yeah,
We're talking tape.
Tape. There's no,
What it all comes back to, though, is like at the end of the tunnel of digging through all the gear and trying to learn all the techniques and all that crap, it's really about the song. And it's kind of
Thank
like
you.
disheartening a little bit. You're like, man, I thought it was all the shit.
Yeah,
I thought it was all the shit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's not.
If the song's good, it's good.
Thank you.
It means it could be played for ukulele. It could be played like in a samba fashion. It could be played like reggae.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
could be anything,
Yep. I always
And
think
it's
Black
like-
Sabbath.
That's what I think Dusty's talent is. He writes songs, like they're little short stories. Since we were kids, every song has a reason. It has a climax. It builds to something and something happens.
That's right.
And I think that's what people like about his shit. I think he could make any style of music. because he writes songs.
Because you know that
There's an
you know
arc.
that arc. You know that arc, dude. That's
Right
the
on.
key to everything.
Catches your
dude.
attention.
Yeah.
Builds up.
I think everybody
Drama.
sitting here knows that arc.
That arc, dude.
Yep.
That's the thing, man.
And it's not the compression.
Nope.
It's not the fucking samples.
Nope.
It's not the pan. You think
Nope.
it's all that stuff?
Nope.
It's really not.
You ever listen to something that you were really in love with when you were younger, and then
yeah.
let's say the record was Kill 'Em All. If you listen to that record now, you'd be oh my god, too much compression on the kick, everything's breathing. It wasn't the Black Album for sure, but you don't want to hear it any other way.
Have you heard any of the remastered Megadeth albums?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts,
Dude.
It hurts to
Yeah,
hear
I hate
the
it.
electronic drum sound.
Yep.
To the albums that you've heard.
This
Yeah.
motherfucker is going to
do
make
it.
me go up in the attic and get my actual Megadeth tapes out again because
Yeah.
all I can find illegally bootlegged on the internet now is his remastered shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that
And it
wasn't on the
sounds
original.
So bad. The
Yeah.
drums they put on that.
I could tell
sounds
immediately.
so
I'm
bad.
like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
This
bad.
ain't the song. Quit fucking with it.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, the one Megadeth album that, in my opinion, actually he kind of George Lucased it because
Wake Up Dead.
No. It's the album "Killing Is My Business" and "Business Is Good," which is the very first one they did. There are actually two different remasters of that. The later remasters can suck my fucking balls, but that one in the middle, where he actually just like kind of re-EQ'd it, he didn't try to re-perform anything, or there was no drum replacement. That's the one because you can actually hear it. The tape of that album was so bad you couldn't make out what was going on, like it, so I was like, at last I can actually hear it. But no, speaking to your point about the strength of the song is that if you go back and listen to those Black Sabbath albums, like the first 2 or 3 Black Sabbath albums, dude, some of those songs on there are so fucking killer, man. Such a great band, and the production is terrible, and it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't matter at all.
It's like you said,
That's
listen to
humans,
the production
dude.
on Kill 'Em All. I mean, that's just like Black Sabbath.
That's humans.
Two of the biggest bands ever.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
It's human beings.
Let's
You're
think of a
hearing
record.
Human beings telling a story.
What
I've never heard
record?
a great song, and I was like, man, that guitar tone.
Yeah, right, dude.
Some DI guitar behind that. That would have been the shit.
What is the
Should've brought
record?
that up, dude. It's not thick enough. It's not thick.
What is the record for you, Farley? What's the record that you go to that's like your sonic Bible? I mean, as far as
Yeah,
That's a
let's-
good
let's-
question,
let's
dude.
When
pass
I'm
this
setting up a
around little
PA,
bit.
and I'm or trying to learn a room, there's a couple things I play. Sledgehammer is one of the first things I play really
Peter
loud.
Gabriel.
Mhm.
Yep.
okay, I got you.
And then,
Track, dude.
Yeah.
I'm Broken, Pantera.
And what are you looking for in each one of them songs?
It's just different things. I'm like,
Because that
I
Peter
know the
Gabriel song,
highs.
you can turn that fucker up, and I bet it's clean all
There's
the
a
way
lot
to
of
10.
space in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of space in that.
But you know what?
There's
I'll
no
put in-
mud in it. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
no weird frequencies. Like, I can't quite get that out of there.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to check for low end and like mid range stuff like Pantera. That second Deftones album. Like if you want to hear like the lows, what's really going on in the system, I'll let you know.
Because they're powerful on
Yeah,
those
it's just the way it's
Deftones.
mixed. It's just
Yeah.
like the low
Yeah.
end's super tight, and you can tell what's going on with the
Yeah.
rig right
Yeah.
away.
See, you're talking feeling out of room though. What is the album for you? What is
Oh, the album that like
the album that
The
gets
Sonic
you, gets you
Bible.
where you need to go?
Yeah.
it depends what
Like-
mood I'm in. I'm weird that way, man.
See, I think I agree with you. I don't know if I can narrow it down.
Well, if
when
one
I was
does-
younger, I was just into like just metal and heavy stuff, and I would say Far Beyond Driven.
God, I remember when that first came out. Hearing the
Yep.
kick drum like that for the first time.
It sounded
with
like
that
people
much click in it,
pounding on
but
rocks.
Still
Now,
the
see,
Yeah.
we were
all
talking
the
about that,
low
Farley,
end.
and
badass.
that was around the time that Drophammer was trying to record records, and we just latched on to. We were like, "How do you do that?" Because when that happened, it changed shit.
Yeah.
Shit
yeah.
changed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The drums were now really up front and really big, and they had some weird attack to them that you couldn't get. Nobody could
No,
get.
we could get it. Yeah.
We
Just
were literally
listening.
guessing.
Just listening to it and trying
Yeah.
to do it by sound with no idea what the actual techniques might be.
So now that it's been 20 years of people, researching that and figuring out and learning them sounds and knowing, then the first person, when you did it for the first time, you're like, there it is, man.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
And now we can do that. And
My
I'll
answer
say,
is Steely Dan.
Yeah.
My answer is Steely Dan. Like, I played you some Steely Dan last time you were at my house, man. I was like, this is it. And you were like, okay.
Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses. When he said,
Damn.
goo ga on this, I was like, what?
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
And to me, when I was talking about capturing a band, that was fucking Guns N' Roses. That was Slash on the right. That was Izzy on the left.
Yep.
Duff in the middle. Fucking Axl Rose singing.
Yep.
And What's His Nuts on the drums. And that was their fucking band. And that's what they sounded like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, sonically and just the whole recording of that, I think that's one of them for sure.
Appetite for Destruction.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Sonically, for sure.
I'm kind of a latecomer to that one. I didn't really listen to it much when it came out, but I've listened to it a few times since then. And
the guitar tone that they got, that they captured for Slash on that album,
in particular,
especially in some of his solos.
Yeah, it's marvelous. It's got that
really is,
it's got that mid-range forward howl.
Here's what was cool about that record. If you take Appetite for Destruction and you pan it far left, it's a different record than if you pan it all the way to the right.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you pan it to the right, it's Slash down, 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 down. If you pan it to the left, it's Izzy going.
Yep. That's what makes that band awesome.
Yeah.
And so there's these layers that when you
Pearl
hear
Jam
them
too,
together, it's this new wall of sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam too, though.
Exactly.
When you listen to
Same
any
exact
like Pearl
thing.
Jam 10, same deal. Now we're talking stereo, so now it's balance. If you balance it all the way to the left, then you will hear, Stone Gossard or whatever, and then on the other hand, you'll hear Mike McCartney.
What I was trying to get to with this subject is, it seems like nowadays when I hear a band, I already feel like, anybody can do that now. You have unlimited tracks. You have instant cut, paste, like moving files together. You can throw an effect in there. Don't like it, take it back off. You don't have to like patch bay everything.
Yeah.
It just seems like we've lost the art of that.
It's because there's no struggle.
I remember when I first heard like Rob Zombie or White Zombie, it pissed me off that it wasn't like a drummer. And I could tell it wasn't like a guy playing drums. It sounded like a drum machine. And people like my wife were like, huh?
That's why there was a time.
That doesn't bother you?
Yeah.
That doesn't bother you?
How about this?
Really? All this auto tune? Yeah.
Right? And every time that came on in a club back when I was young, the girls were just like, I want to fuck you like an animal. Yeah. And I'm like, seriously? Because nowadays, if, them same girls are saying like, oh, that guy looked at my breasts, and like, I think he touched my butt. It's like, you were dancing to I want to fuck you like an animal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Girls love that shit.
Although, hey,
and I hated it because it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a band.
In fairness,
this crap?
right around
Disco?
the time that everybody started getting freaked out about all that stuff, the biggest selling novel in the United States was Shades of Grey. So tell me what you want to tell me about how it is that when people suppress things in themselves, the shit leaks out.
It's, to me, what you're hitting on, like with Nine Inch Nails and all that, is when I think of things like that, it's still an instrument. You're still making music. And I was probably the same. I know I was the same way when I was younger and only playing metal all the time. And stuff like that came out, and I couldn't understand why it was so popular. But then I would listen to it and realize that I liked it.
Right. You can understand why it's popular.
To admit it that I liked it or not, I did. And it's still, you're still making music, and
True.
it's like you have both said tonight, it's the story you tell, it's the feel that you give people, and it's the reaction that you give somebody by playing them your song. That's what sets, I think, good music apart from music maybe that falls short, is the reaction that people have to it. It's not how well you compress the kick drum or whether you used vintage 30s or a
K85s,
old crate, 210 combo cab.
Yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, we should probably end the podcast. Try to keep it a little short. But before we go, though, these are fun questions to ask. And I did it on the last podcast. I thought it was pretty fun. Since it's, Christmas time, do you guys celebrate Christmas? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's around the Christmas season. Can you get yourself in the mindset of when you were a child? Okay? Mm-hmm. Do you remember a specific gift that you really wanted? What was it, and did you get it?
My
This one
parents were
Christmas,
cool.
I wanted this electric a guitar toy where you hit the button and it started playing like riffs.
Had a whammy bar.
How old were you?
That's like 7, 8. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
you know what I'm talking about.
I know
Dude,
exactly
that
what you're
thing was
talking about,
Buttons
dude.
were blue.
Yeah.
Buttons were blue. I know exactly
And
which
I
one.
never thought I was gonna get it, and I woke up Chris and was like, "Holy shit, it's on!" Rock all the time. Built-in song thing.
Yep. One of them's like a pick slide. It's like, and then the other one's, and the other one's, I had that, dude.
But it had the whammy too. That you press down the whammy.
Yeah,
Yes.
two
So that
pitched all around.
I was blown away when that was under the tree. I'm like, no,
That's a
fuck.
Came with a strap. Had a
Came with a strap, dude. Yeah. Now, that's opposed to my cousin got the guitar that had the speaker in it. It
Oh,
was
I
a
had
real
one of those.
guitar, but it had the
yeah.
speaker in it, dude.
What do you think, Dusty? What'd you?
Oh man, it's the one thing I can think of is not exactly in line with what you're asking, but I remember I wanted this remote control boat, and I got it.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
Remote control boat was like this big. It was
that's
right?
tits, dude.
Gnarly.
Yes.
I wanted to play with it so bad that I would fill up the bathtub.
Yeah.
and I would run this thing. You couldn't even.
No.
You could only.
Got to pick it up, turn around.
So I did that.
Yeah.
I did that night after night. Right? I did that.
And the water bill was crazy.
So then March comes.
Yeah.
Dad, take me to the lagoon in Bettendorf. It's time.
It's time.
It's like 42 degrees.
Yep.
It's 20 mile an hour winds out of the north. You know? I set her on her maiden voyage. And
Yeah. Of course.
it had been smashed into the bathtub
Yeah.
so many times that it gets out there, one wave goes over the top.
It is safe.
You know? So I played with it in the bathtub.
Yeah, dude. It's like Titanic. I know how this story ends.
What would you pay for a picture of your face at that moment? You know what I mean?
Oh,
The kid with the
dude.
remote, like,
Yeah.
Or I could just imagine my dad's face like,
Damn it.
I told you. I told you.
$24.99 down the
go home
drain.
and tell his mother. Oh my God.
We'll just get a new one, like your son would say. Right?
Yeah.
We just gotta get a new one.
New one.
Dad, we need a new one.
Get you a new one.
We need a new one. Everything in his life.
That's amazing, man.
Anything wrong.
That is amazing.
Just get a
We'll
new
just
one.
get you a new one, man.
all
It's
good.
fine.
So cool, man.
Put it back.
Hey, I have a good time doing these podcasts. I want to thank you for coming on,
Thank
Dusty.
you.
Of
I
course,
appreciate
Farley.
it. I appreciate all the support you've always given me, Brian.
You know
that.
what? I don't fake that shit. So if it's coming from here because I respect it, man.
Yep.
What about my first impression of you, Dusty Smith?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You and I kind of got into it a little
We
bit.
did a little bit, man.
Yeah.
We were at Music Go Round, and he came with some, admittedly, beat up Flying V, Gibson Flying V, and you were like, "What's up with this, and this?" He tried to pull a worm on me. What's up with this, these things? There's all these chips, man, and you're asking $700, and I was like, "Don't buy it then." And you were like, "I will
Travis
never."
Travis says, if you don't like it, then don't buy it. I'm out there, you know.
And he was like, "And I will never come here. I will never come. I will tell all my friends not to blah." And I was like, "Fuck you then."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how
That was
you
my-
and I, that
that is how
first
we
ever
met.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And things have blossomed.
And you know, I think
Yeah,
I love
yep,
you.
Yep.
You should start a band. You should write some songs.
You should write some songs. This tension, it's doing something.
Our vocals in harmony?
Yeah, okay. All right.
The way we screamed at each other right there. Did you hear that?
Did you hear that? You were like, "Ah," and I was like, "Ah."
No, fuck you. Thanks for doing
Nice.
the
That's
podcast,
great.
guys. I'm going to let you guys roll. And
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Right on.
Congratulations on keeping this going so long.
Yeah,
This
man.
is cool.
It is cool.
It's
First
been a
time
long
down
time,
here.
hasn't
It's
it?
cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
I told myself I want to make it to episode 100, and then I'm going to reassess.
That's it. Yeah.
Where we at right now?
This
90.
is 90.
Oh shit.
So
Yep,
10
so
more.
90.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. That's a lot of content, guys.
It really is, man. And, these motherfuckers up at YouTube have been getting all our shit for free, figuring out what our fucking social patterns are,
For free.
making money on learning how to program people like us by watching our patterns, and
Right.
we aren't even getting a cut.
Dang.
So,
What he
you
said.
all.
I don't know. Anyway,
No,
thanks.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
I appreciate you having
That
us
was my-
on.
So where can we get the CD?
And yeah, thank
That's
you
Conspiracy
for
Corner.
recording my album, man.
It's a new section of the show.
Where can we get the CD?
Skylark Recording. That's where you should go record. Where can you get the CD? iTunes, Spotify, CD Baby,
What's the best search?
Amazon. Search The Smith to Kill Lament.
And that's to
The band would
Kill
be The Smith, and yeah,
Lament.
the album is To Kill Lament.
Lament. Lament.
Get rid of that lamenting crap.
Yep. Let's kill that. Let's kill that lamenting off.
Bye-bye.
Yep. To kill lament. Got it.
Get you some. We're going to take off. This is Minor Disturbance Radio. We'll see you guys next time.
Love you out there.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Boom.
What? He said happy Kwanzaa.
Nice.
That's amazing.
He postures himself to take the lead.